you guys. Hopefully I am coming through okay. Looks fuzzy on my end, so I'm gonna wipe you off. That's better. It's so humid in here that you can see it on the phone. Isn't that crazy? All right. I'm gonna angle you guys down just a little bit. So I'm just chopping potatoes. I'm gonna do a side tonight of, I call them Mexican potatoes, but it tastes sort of like the little you at Taco Bell. So I'm just chopping up the potatoes and back there into the pan. I'm gonna put some lard in there and we'll start sauteing them. We'll get them all seasoned up. And this is gonna be a side to our, hey Jackie, this is gonna be a side to our black bean quesadillas. So, this is going to be an extremely fast meal tonight because I've already made up my tortillas. If you don't know how to make tortillas, I do have videos up on the channel on how to do that. And if you can think ahead and know you're going to have a meal coming up that needs tortillas, and go ahead and make those tortillas ahead of time, it goes a lot quicker. So right now I actually have, hey Sandy. I'm so glad you made a live too. It's either been a really long time or this is your first time. I can't remember. I know you usually catch the replay. The tortillas I made are into the oven right now. They're warming up because that helps them to become more flexible so we can fold them in half to make quesadillas. But I made them all ahead of time. But I do have the recipe up here on the channel to make these beautiful things. This is sourdough, and I also have a video up on how to make sprouted tortillas, so if sourdough is out of your reach, I do have that up as well. And I'm going to be making some more videos about soaked recipes. I just haven't gotten around to actually like inventing my own recipe quite yet, so don't worry, I will be coming out with a soaked recipe for tortillas. I also plan to do a soaked recipe for like biscuits, that sort of thing, so that will all be coming. And I have super exciting news, you guys. My computer is being shipped right now, back from my brother's house. He successfully hacked into it. Sandy says, I caught a few lives, been recovering from a knee replacement. Oh man, my mom had both of her knees done. That is a long recovery, girl. Keep doing your exercises and keep that knee iced. That's my best advice, watching my mom go through that same thing. So, but anyway, my computer's on its way back here. And my brother was able to hack into my computer that I was locked out of and get all of the stuff off of it, and then reboot the computer and erase everything and start over and put it all back on. So I'm super excited because that means my cookbook is in the mail on my computer coming here, and then I can finish it, which hopefully will take 30 days or less, maybe 60 days worst case scenario. And then you got it. I'm going to start taking pre-orders once we get it ready to go. So I'll keep you guys posted on that, but that is coming. I'm super excited about it. Okay, so we've got some potatoes in the back there. I'm going to move you guys a little bit closer. Just got to move stuff out of the way first. So I'm going to timestamp this too, because I know some people who watch the replay, you don't have an hour to watch something. You just want the basic recipe, or you just want a topic that we're going to talk about. So just for like a little index here, we are going to season these potatoes up. Then we're going to make the black bean quesadillas. Then we're going to talk about some true kitchen time savers that are really good ideas for moms that don't have a lot of time. We're going to go over our recipe for next week, which is delicious pineapple meatballs. Barbecue meatballs are so good. And then if we still have time, we'll talk about the thyroid. So I'm going to timestamp all those down in the description box. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn these potatoes over medium heat. They're in a cast iron pan, which means we don't go over medium, okay? And we're going to add some lard to it. You could also add butter or coconut oil. tallow, duck fat, goose fat, any of those are all good choices. We just want a semi-solid room temperature, because semi-solid fats are the most stable and the safest to cook with, okay? I'm all out of lard in that one. Good thing I have lots more. Okay, so that's just gonna melt, and we're gonna go ahead and throw some seasoning on there real quick here. Grab my seasoning down. All right, so we need some chili powder. So this was probably equal to about 4 or 5 medium potatoes. And I am going to put 2 teaspoons of chili powder on them. You wouldn't have to do a side of potatoes, obviously. But we think they're pretty darn good. 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, thank God, because that's about all I have in here. There it is. And we're going to grab some salt. Now we want colored salt. You want pink Himalayan salt, Celtic sea salt, which would be gray. You want colored salt. That is the salt that's good for your body. And we're going to do 2 teaspoons. Or to taste, whatever you would like, okay? But the minerals that are in the salts, the colored salts, are really healthy for you. And it helps your body to handle the salt without having swelling of the body or high blood pressure. Okay, so these are just over medium heat. They're going to get to cooking. And we're going to start on our quesadillas. So let's write a timestamp. How about that? Okay, so quesadillas, here we go. Angle you guys down. Okay, so to a bowl, I'm going to add 2 cups of salsa. This is my homemade zucchini salsa, but you could use any sort of salsa you'd want to use that your family likes. We really enjoy my zucchini salsa. It's a good way to get vegetables in. I mean, we eat a lot of vegetables anyway, but it is a really uniquely flavored salsa. So 2 cups of salsa. Okay. Now I have my own canned black beans. These were fermented before I canned them, so they were soaked and fermented, so the outside phytic acid layer has been broke down. These are safe to eat. They're ready to go. If you need to know more about how to properly prepare your beans, I do have an entire complete guide here up on the channel. It's just really, really important that you soak, and then if you can, ferment those beans. The soaking process breaks down the phytic acid, which is the coating on the outside of all seeds of the earth. And basically, if you don't remove that, then that binds to calcium and other nutrients within your body in order for you to break down and utilize, in this case, these black beans. And then if you can take it a step further and ferment them, which is just allowing them to sit 3 more days at room temperature, you actually multiply the nutrients within the bean. So for your money, you're getting more nutrients, and because it's more bioavailable for the body, it fills up your family a lot faster. So if you don't know how to do that, please go back and watch that video. It is a really important cooking lesson for anybody who doesn't know how to do that. Especially with the way food prices are, if you can get a meal to stretch further by fermenting beans, you got to get that done. Okay, so the beans are 2 cups of beans. Which is about half of a home can. Goes. Okay. Then we need, let's see, 4 tablespoons of taco seasoning. I also have a video up on how to make this. It's super easy, guys. And it's a lot cheaper than buying those already pre-made up packets. So 4 tablespoons of taco seasoning. just going to give this a good stir. And I'm going to go ahead and preheat my pan over here real quick. Medium heat. This pan is it's a monster pan, guys. It's way bigger than my burner. We're going to do medium heat anyway and get it going. I've also already pre-shredded up cheddar cheese. This is the Romano brand cheese from Azure Standard. This is not raw, but it's organic grass-fed milk that they use to make the cheese. So this is sharp cheddar, I believe. So I've already ground that up. That's just going to go on right on top of this stuff inside of our nice tortillas. This is a meat-free meal. If you wanted to add meat, you sure could. I've just had some requests in the past for low to no meat foods, just for the occasional way to stretch a budget, and so this definitely qualifies as one of those meals. So we're just going to wait for the pan to get hot back over there. But these are the nice sourdough tortillas. They are ready to receive their stuffing. Super easy meal, guys. If you can make up these tortillas ahead of time, you can have dinner done in like 15 minutes. It's just kind of about thinking ahead and saying, okay, we're going to need tortillas within the next week, and then making them ahead of time. All right. My mom had one of her knees done at a time. I don't know how many knees. Did you only have one knee done? Sandy? My mom is a diabetic, so she couldn't get both done at the same time. But I have known people who have gotten both of them done at the same time. My mom just did one because she was hoping that she wouldn't need to do the other one. But then in the recovery process, she wore out her other knee, and so she ended up going back for the second one. But that physical therapy is important. Icing is important. Yeah, for sure. All right. If you can remember when you're folding these to put it so it's the cheese size down into your pan, they'll warm up and melt a lot faster that way. I'm going to do one more. And then we'll wait for those to be melted. And we can go over our recipe for next week. Now, I have already put up a pre-scheduled live for next week. Okay, it's already up. I was in there messing around anyway, and so I figured I better just do that before I forget. So go ahead and feel free to click the notify me on that pre-scheduled event. It is for the pineapple barbecue meatballs for next week. Also, down in the description, underneath that little pre-scheduled event, is a list of all the ingredients you're going to need for pineapple barbecue meatballs. So, we're on top of it today. So, all right, Sandy says it was my third replacement, but first time I did them both at the same time. I was in your mother's shape. Yeah, bone on bone. It's painful. Totally painful. I'm going to add a little bit more fat to this pan back here. Bring you guys a little closer. I don't bite, don't worry. There you go. All right. I'm going to grab some coconut oil for the bottom of that pan because my lard is about, 10 foot up in the air on my shelves. So use some coconut oil instead. Butter would also be good. There we go. Super easy. I know a person who had their knee done, but now their ankle is needing to be replaced. So it's like this goes from one thing to the next, it seems. I'm really glad you're on, Sandy. That's awesome. And Jackie. I know Jackie's still here. You could also, if you're keto or if you're doing low carb, you could totally use the grain-free tortilla recipe I have up. That's what I'm going to be eating tonight. Is I will stuff it probably with something else because I haven't started eating beans yet with my cavities. So, but I'll fill it with something else, and you sure could make those ahead of time as well. They stay good at least 1 week into the refrigerator, and then stuff them with the same stuffing. Totally doable. These look delicious. Okay. So we're just looking for these to get kind of crispy and soft, the potatoes in the back here. And it looks like, and right here it's done. Alright guys, whoops, there it is, black bean quesadilla, ready for a little kid to devour it. Alright. Alright, so I'm going to read off the ingredients for next week, you guys, and like I said, this is all typed out. Guess we lost something there with rewatching a few minutes ago. That's okay. Some people like to jump on and off too. For the pineapple meatballs, like I said, I already typed up all of these ingredients under the pre-scheduled event that's up here on the channel for next week. But I'll read them off to you anyway. So it's a pineapple barbecue meatballs. These are really good, and I totally invented them by accident, which is hilarious. But I used my canned pineapple zucchini. I have not done a video on that yet, but I do plan to do one on that. I hated the product canned pineapple zucchini at first, but now I'm like using it in a ton of stuff, and so I actually don't mind it. So if you don't have canned pineapple zucchini, then you are going to want to just buy regular canned pineapple. Just make sure that there's no sugar added, that it's just canned in its same juices. That would be the wisest choice. So then, yeah, so you need 2 cups of shredded canned pineapple of some sort or pineapple zucchini. For next week, you will need 2 pounds of ground beef, 2 eggs, 15 ounces of tomato sauce. And then the other things to have on hand are apple cider vinegar, molasses, honey, paprika, salt, garlic powder and onion powder. This one's done too. Dijon mustard, cayenne, Worcestershire sauce is optional, and then some coconut flour. So those are the ingredients for next week's cooking class. If you decide to cook with me, that is what you will need. I don't need a ton of potatoes tonight because my husband is eating at a friend's house and I can't have potatoes. So this will be plenty of potatoes for the kids. They'll thoroughly enjoy that. Okay, I know I missed a comment. Hang on a second. Okay, I have a disease that stretches my tissue. It is a tissue mutation, and they thought it was a repair, but it was so bad that they had to do the whole knee. Ugh, ouch. That one's done. So the bottoms just look, when they're done, they just look toasted. I don't know how to show that here. I'll flip it over. See? Nice and toasted on the bottom. And these freeze well, you guys. If you wanted to make them ahead, throw them into the, you totally could. Put them in like individual quart-sized bags. Put a couple of them in there for like a serving to grab. Totally doable. But anyway, I'm super excited. I'm super excited that my cookbook is on its way back here. That I can finally get into my computer. And I can't wait to get the rest of my recipes in there and then finally announce that it's finished. You know, being locked out of your computer for 4 months is way too long. Yeah. So it's been kind of a rough road. So I'm just very, very grateful to my brother because he is technologically advanced. I am not. And he was, like I said, able to hack into my computer and get everything off and just do a whole computer reset for me, which is great. But I can't wait to have all of my recipes in one spot. I have a couple of recipes that I thought I had written down, but turns out I did not. So I have to go back and figure out my recipe for my sourdough cinnamon rolls. That's one of them. But I also like to experiment and make up my own recipe for soaked cinnamon rolls. For those of you who don't want to do sourdough or you don't want to pay the extra money for sprouted wheat. So just bear with me. I'm gonna pack that whole cookbook full of a lot of recipes, guys. It'll be nice and chock full of all sorts of stuff. And I do a variety of sourdough and soaked and sprouted and grain-free, low carb, all of that stuff. So I'm also planning on putting my canning recipes in there, which will be great. Hey, Carl. I'm going to put my canning recipes in there, so that'll be great. I'm also going to put, I was encouraged to put my recipes for my feed for chickens and stuff, so it's just going to be a chock full cookbook, that's for sure. But it should be really great, and I can't wait. I'm excited to have all of my recipes in one place because I'm totally guilty of inventing a recipe on a piece of paper, like Rain taking notes, and then like totally losing that piece of paper. So I'm excited to have a hard copy of my own recipes. That is the one like negative thing to inventing recipes, is that if you don't write them down somewhere solid and remember where you wrote them down at, you kind of don't remember them. So it will be nice. I'm looking forward to being able to give my kids a copy of it so that when they grow up and have their own families, they can cook. So I'm just taking a fork here and testing to make sure that these yummy seasoned potatoes are done, which they are. Okay. So these are just so yummy, guys. So yummy. Yes, the chicken feed. I'm getting chickens in the spring, first time ever. Oh, awesome. It's a good year to get chickens. If you like to eat eggs anyway, and you have a food budget, which most of us do. I found a nest tonight. It was in the, that's what I was going to do with you guys. I was going to say what my highlight of the day was, okay? I'm going to try and remember to do my highlight of the day every week when we do this together. So my highlight of the day was the speedy delivery guy came with a package. And Rambo, he's our lamb. He was our bottle lamb, you know. Anyway, he usually greets everybody. He's tried to go home with a UPS man before. He's like jumped into his truck. That was a funny day. But today, he decided that since the speedy delivery man was not opening his door and letting him into the van, because the guy just like was trying to hurry, you know. And so the guy got out and delivered the package, and I jumped back in before Rambo could get in his car. And because he thinks he's a dog, you guys, like he's like legitly thinks he's a dog. So anyway, and so basically what ended up happening was the guy backed out, and Rambo was like following his car, and he yelled something at Rambo. I don't know if it was provoking or not. I'm just gonna assume it wasn't. I'm just gonna assume it was something friendly, you know. Anyway, but Rambo chased him all the way down our half-mile driveway. So, whatever he said made Rambo mad enough that Rambo chased him all the way down. Chased his truck, you know. He was inside his like little speed delivery van. So I thought that was hilarious because He's actually never done that before, but usually the UPS man, you know, has those doors that are open on both sides of the truck, so usually he gets to jump in there, and then the UPS man shoos him out, you know, and then leaves. But I think he was just upset about the speedy delivery man not letting him in to his car. Because what person doesn't want a lamb in their car? Okay, hang on. I missed something here. Okay, Jackie says I try to eat the majority of my meals carb free. I'm noticing that with my body anyway, my body does better on less carbs. I won't say totally carb free, but I just noticed that I feel a lot better if I'm eating less carbs and closer to the GAPS diet protocol, which is kind of grain free. That's just my personal thing for my body. I mean, my kids, they do just fine on grains and sourdough and sprouted wheat and all of that. So I think it's a very individual thing, and I don't think it's bad to go low carb. All right, this is the last of this, and then we're going to talk about our other topic here in just a second. They're melting. Oh man, guys, they look so good. Look at that cheese. Can you guys see that? Mmm. There's just enough liquid in these where it just makes them delicious. All right, so I shut this off. Okay, I'm going to adjust the camera, and we're going to talk about kitchen time savers, guys. So stick around. Hang on. I actually switched my phone holder. Yeah, Sandy. You know what? When he was running down the driveway after the guy in the car, I was like, where's my phone? Because that would have been amazing footage to put up on the channel, because you guys would have laughed so hard. See, because we did not dock his tail at all. So he has like this like little tail that's hanging there, and it like goes around like a propeller when he runs. It's hilarious. So anyway, he ran and ran and ran. It was just too funny. Sandy says I started out on keto and the changing diet center. I've lost 180 pounds. Oh, nice. In the last year. Now, good for you. All right. So let's talk about kitchen time savers, guys. So last week, one of you guys reached out to me via email, and I had talked and just briefly touched on it last week about quick meals, and just like basically talking about how there's not really any quick meals when it comes to this diet, which is not very encouraging, guys, but there are quick meals. I just don't make a ton of them. If you're into crock pot meals, you could totally do like a dump recipe where you put a whole bunch of meat and your seasonings and stuff in it. And there's already lots of recipes out there for something like that. So I don't typically do that because they're everywhere already. So I don't need to inundate you guys with those as well. But those are definitely a good option. Also, like I talked about tonight, making your tortillas or your bread ahead of time. If you know you're going to be needing those things during the week, make them on the weekend. And put them in your refrigerator or store on the countertop so that those are ready to go for quick sandwiches or wraps. Cook a whole chicken or a whole bunch of beef or a couple of beef roasts all at once. Divide the meat out and season them differently. And you could use them for wraps or sandwiches, etc. That'll save you some time in the kitchen. Make more than one meal at once. I always do this, you guys. Even tonight, I have a stack right here. I'm going to keep on making. These are for tomorrow's lunch. If you can make the huge mess once and have 2 meals, that's a great thing, or 3 meals. Okay, so then another tip, which I talk about this in some of my older videos, but some of you guys haven't seen my older videos, so properly preparing grains all at once. So in the beginning of the month, if I know how much rice I'm going to need for the entire month, I'll just go ahead and ferment and soak that all at once. And I do have a video up here on how to do that with rice. But you can soak and ferment your beans all at once. You can do 5-10 pounds if you wanted to all at once, and rice. And then when you rinse it, you can put them in freezer bags and then just store them inside your freezer. And then they're ready to use when you're ready to cook. Yeah. So Sandy, I just answered that. I do freeze them too. Yep. I just throw them inside a freezer bag because if I don't do that step, then I'm not going to have grains and beans and seeds of the earth that are properly prepared, because I just don't have the time or the foresight to say, hey, I'm going to need beans this next Thursday. I think I'll start on Monday. Like, it's just not going to happen. So I just try to soak and ferment everything that I need to get done all at once, rinse it all, put it in freezer bags so it's ready to go. The other thing that helps is having, if you're a planner, I'm a planner, so having a meal plan. This is an entire month's meal plan, but you guys could just do a week at a time. And I did this for a while, and then I stopped doing this because we kept not eating the things on the list for the right day, and so I figured, why even plan? But I've started doing it again because it's just nice to have an answer when kids come in multiple times and say, what's for dinner? It's right on the sheet. So that's really nice. And you know what? If you don't cook that specific meal that night, oh well, what's for dinner the next day, you know? Just pick up where you left off. Let's see. I think that was it for my kitchen time savers that I can think about, okay? If you guys have any other tips, leave them in the comments down below about things that you do to save time and or money on your food. Okay, so now let's talk about thyroid. Okay, so I have a backstory on my thyroid, my thyroid journey, and that is that when we were trying to get pregnant with our third child, we could not get pregnant. We were having infertility issues. And it kind of hit us as odd because we had already had 2 kids without trying for either one. And so when we went several months without being able to conceive, it was this like huge shocker. So basically what ended up happening was I got a hold of an herbalist, and she said, and this is something that everybody should be doing, okay? We're going to test your thyroid by checking your morning temperature of your body before you get out of bed. So keep like a little digital thermometer next to the side of your bed, and when you wake up, take your temperature right away before you even sit upright. Like roll over and take your temperature. It's called a basal body temperature. It's basically your body temperature before you rise, because once you rise up out of bed, your temperature automatically goes up. So we want to know what those readings are, and you want to take them for 3 or 4 days. And basically, if it's below the typical temperature for that reading, then your thyroid is struggling, okay? Thyroid tests are not very accurate, you guys. Usually if you are getting a test from a doctor that says you have a thyroid problem, you have either a swollen thyroid, which is called goiter, or it's been going for so long that the doctors can't ignore it any longer, okay? Their testing is not very accurate. So I would just encourage everybody to take your morning temperature before you get out of bed, and you're still laying in bed, and see what that temperature is over 3 to 4 days. And then get online and Google normal basal body temperature in the morning, okay? The other thing that is kind of like an old wives' tale, I'm not really sure how legit it is if you look at your fingers, you're supposed to have little white moons. I don't know if you guys can see that on that thumb right there. Each one of your fingers should have a moon, okay? This one doesn't have a moon because it got slammed by some firewood. But like both of my thumbs have a moon. It's like that little white thing right there, okay? So the wives' tale says that out of 10, okay, how many fingers do you have that have a moon, okay? And that is the percent of your thyroid that is fully functioning right now, okay? So for me, it's not looking that good. I think I have probably, let's see, 1, 2, oh, maybe it is 3, 4, close to 60%, okay, of my thyroid is functioning, okay? And so that's another way to tell. I'm not going to say it's a foolproof way. I would rather go on people's body temperatures, but in any event, I got my body temperature, and so then what I ended up finding out was that the thyroid needed to be supported, okay? And there's a ton of lectures online. If you can find one from Dr. Rhonda, is it Rhonda Pierce? No, Rhonda Nelson. I know the Weston A. Price Foundation has lots of her presentations. You can pay for them, they're only like 15 bucks for several hours worth of presentations. But I will sum it up for you. So your thyroid, your sex organs, and your adrenals form a triangle, okay? If any of those systems are not doing well, it pulls on the triangle and you no longer have a triangle. So if you have a thyroid issue, you most likely have adrenal issue and or reproductive issues, okay? And so it's just kind of a big ball of wax. But basically, the thyroid, in order to be well nourished, it needs iodine. And this isn't just something that I want you guys to go out and start, because iodine is very, very powerful, and it can create a very quick, very fast detox of things like bromide, which they put in store-bought bread and other places. But anyway, bromide and fluoride, okay? So it's going to push those things out, and that can make you extremely sick. So my little disclaimer here is that if you're thinking that you might have a struggling thyroid, please go out and buy The Iodine Crisis by Lynn Farrow. It's a book. Read it. It has an entire section on other supplements that you should take while you're taking iodine. Iodine is not something just to start, guys. You have to support the whole body and the whole body detox so that you don't end up sick, okay? But I will say that, like iodine, usually they recommend that you start on liquid iodine. I do know that like Amazon sells this, Vitacost sells this, and you just start with 1 drop, guys. But you're also going to be taking the other things that are recommended in that book, okay? But anyway, you work your way up, and once you get to 4 drops a day, then you can switch over to a pill. This product is called Iodorol, okay? And I buy this from supplementfirst.com. I love their prices. They sell like a 90 count bottle, a 180 count bottle. I think there's even a 240 count bottle. So, and it's not really that expensive. So anyway, look into that, get that book, read it. Almost everyone should be on iodine. And the reason why I say that is because our thyroids need so much more support today than they ever have inside the past. Your thyroid is shaped like a shield. It's on the front of your neck here, okay? And it protects you from radiation. So obviously, if you know about 5G, 4G, Wi-Fi in our homes or in our neighbors' homes, electricity, cell phones, all of this sort of thing is all putting off radiation, and your thyroid's taking a hitting, okay? It used to be back in ancient times that people would live next to the ocean and they would eat the sea kelp that would wash up, because that is a great source of iodine. The only problem with iodine these days is obviously our oceans are not as clean as they have been in the past, so a lot of times that kelp is contaminated. Also, those indigenous people who used to eat that kelp and that was enough did not have a cell phone, they did not have Wi-Fi, they did not have 5G, so their demand for iodine was much lower than ours is today. So just keep that in mind. Everybody's exposed to radiation. You know, some of the signs that the body desperately needs iodine are things like goiter when the thyroid swells, or if you get ovarian cysts, lumpy, cysty type breasts. All those things are that portion of the body swelling to try and absorb iodine out of your bloodstream. So they used to put iodine in our bread because they realized how important it was for health and the avoidance of goiter. But I don't exactly know when they switched it, but they switched it a long time ago. They switched it from iodine over to bromide, which bromide fills, like if you can imagine your body having a key-shaped hole for all of your nutrients. Bromide fits into that key shape for iodine, but it does not feed the thyroid. So you can see how that would not be a good thing, okay? And that's another reason why once you start supplementing with iodine, iodine is going to race in and push that bromide out of that key-shaped hole, and that is why you end up hitting a detox. So I just strongly recommend that if you guys do take your temperature, I think everybody, I challenge everybody who watches this video tonight to take your morning temperature for the next 3 days. Trying to remember what the normal morning temp is. You're probably just going to have to Google it. Take that for at least 3 to 4 days and keep a record of it and just see where you're at. And if you're low, then you know you need to order that book. But almost everybody needs to be on iodine just because our exposure to radiation is so much higher today than whatever ever has been. And those things, when the thyroid starts slipping, then like I said, it pulls on your adrenals and your reproductive system, and you start getting things like infertility. Also, when the adrenals are pulled on, you get things like panic attacks, anxiety, trouble sleeping at night, trouble falling asleep, waking up in the middle of the night, not being able to get back to sleep, feeling dizzy and lightheaded. For me, my boiling point was when I passed out. So there's just a lot of things that we see around in our world today that people struggle with that it's linked into that system, guys. The system, the triangle itself, is called HPA axis. So when something's wrong with that axis, they call it dysregulation. So HPA axis dysregulation, but I just call it adrenal fatigue and or thyroid that's struggling, but that has to do with that triangle system. Doctors are not trained for that triangle system. The reason why is because, well, they don't have a lot that can heal that triangle system. So if they put you on thyroid support, that thyroid support is typically artificial hormones. And what will end up happening is, let me put it this way. If someone showed up to your house and did all of your chores, cooking and cleaning for you for the indefinite future, would you still cook and clean? No. So the body can sense that those hormones are free-flowing within the blood, within the system. So what ends up happening is they say, we don't need to make any more. And so over time, you can see how that would be a bad thing. So the best thing to do is to look into The Iodine Crisis by Lynn Farrow. She lists off in there tons of different warning signs that your system is having an iodine shortage. There's a ton, you guys, of modern day illnesses that were never here before, that you see people walking around. You know people in your family, or maybe even yourself, that are struggling with things that are being unaddressed by modern medicine that can be healed with supplementing iodine. So just look into it. Almost everybody needs iodine. Kids especially need iodine. It helps with everything from teeth formation in the womb to brain growth and formation. So very important, you guys, so very important. If you just take this liquid iodine and you put a drop in a glass of milk, your child won't even realize it's in there. A lot of times before they go to milk a cow, they dip the udder in iodine, guys, and then they hook it right up to a machine. So your milk already has a little tiny bit of iodine in it, and if you add one more drop per cup, you're not going to taste it. It's good stuff, and it's a good thing to make sure you're giving to your kids. But, like I said, please buy that book first, because it can be a very dangerous, heavy detoxing agent. So please get that book. Sandy says, you are so smart. So much info that you share is so helpful. Thank you, Sandy. I would have never known about any of this stuff had I not had my own journey with my thyroid. That then actually ended up leading into my adrenals, and that needed to be healed. And I tell you what, when it comes to adrenal stuff, hang on. If you guys can find a local practitioner that sells Standard Process, they make amazing stuff. So this one's specifically for adrenals, but they also make one that's for Hashimoto's, autoimmune thyroid disease. But this one is Drenatrophin, which is for my adrenals. It's totally empty, but I still have the bottle. I like to save these glass bottles because they're good for a lot of things, and they're nice and tinted already. But then I was also on Trace Minerals, B12, and that was with my adrenal stuff. But they do make stuff for people with autoimmune thyroid disease, okay? So even if your thyroid's already attacking itself, there's still hope to heal there. And one thing I love about Standard Process is it's all food-based supplements. So, trying to read. Anyway, there's just a lot of stuff. This one has kelp already in it, on the trace minerals, because kelp is full of a lot of minerals. But anyway, then after I healed my thyroid and my pituitary, thyroid and my adrenal, I noticed I was still having problems and was not healing, and I had been on my stuff for over a year. And basically, what ended up happening was it was the next granular system up, which was my pituitary. And so luckily Standard Process makes supplements for that as well. And my pituitary was healed within 30 days of being on their supplements. So super good company. I missed this comment. Hang on a second, guys. Okay, Sandy says, have you ever heard if you put a test site of iodine in your skin and if it disappears, you're alone? Yes, I have heard that. I've also heard that test does not hold water very well. And here's the reason why. Your skin is one of the very last places your body will store iodine, okay? So for women, the largest store of iodine besides your thyroid is your breasts. So it just depends on what sex you are as to where you store all of your iodine at. The problem with a skin test is there's just too many factors as far as whether it soaks in quickly or not. And so for the most part, I will muscle test myself to see if I need iodine every day. It also doesn't hurt just to go ahead and take, a serving of iodine every day, whether you need it or not, because your body will store it. It will get stored. And then that way, if you ever run out or forget to take it for a while, then your body can use your reserves that is stored in your breasts or your thyroid or your skin. I'm pretty sure, yeah, you store it in your ovaries as well. So, or if you're a man, that you store them in your testicles. So it's always good to take it. It just always is good to take it. But yeah, I've heard like that Rhonda Nelson. She's the doctor I was talking about earlier. She was talking about how inaccurate the tests are for rubbing iodine on your skin. I mean, it's a good place to start, but what if it doesn't soak in and you don't have enough iodine? I knew you would have the correct answer. Please give us a link to their websites. Yeah, I will, after I get off live, I will put links down below. I'll put a link to the book, The Iodine Crisis by Lynn Farrell. I'll put a link, if I can, to the conference recording from the Weston A. Price Foundation by Rhonda Nelson herself. That's a really good resource to have. And it really talks about that triangle I was telling you guys about, and talks about how important iodine is, and talks about the skin tests and everything with iodine. It's just a wealth of information, so I will try and link that down below. What else? Oh, I can link iodoral by supplement first, I think is what it's called. And I could link Lugol's solution, which is what this one is. I can try and link all of that down below after the live to help you guys. But like I said before, please, please, please get that book first and read it. And I say that not to sell her books, but because people have gotten seriously sick saying, I need iodine and I'm just going to start it. And I don't want that to be you. So get that book. It's not that expensive, guys. Okay. Yeah, what would be really interesting, should I do the test right now? Should we do it right now on me? Let's see if it disappears. I took iodine this morning, but I'll put it right here. I'm going to put it right here on my arm, okay? Making a big mess. Okay, it's legit on my arm. So we'll see. We'll see if it soaks in. Because I had iodine this morning and yesterday morning. So I think it's like 5 minutes. So I'll set a 5-minute timer. But I can pretty much tell you mine's probably going to soak in. But you guys can see it here already. So. I've done this test once before, and then I sat through the presentation by Rhonda and was like, oh, okay, maybe that's not such a good test. I can also muscle test to see if I need it. And I do that one of two ways. Either one, I can put my bottle on the counter here in front of me and then try to hold my finger straight and hold it over top of the iodine and say, do I need this? That's a no. Okay. Yes is like, you know, it bends a little bit. It was a definite no. Another way, if I second guess myself, is you can hang on to the supplement that you're wondering if you need at that very moment, and you can relax and you can say, do I need this? And if you lean backwards, it's no. If you lean forward, it's a yes. So this is it. I got 2 no's so far, and I don't know. We'll see. I've got 3 minutes left. We'll see. So anyway, every day I ask myself, I muscle test like that and ask if I need iodine or not. And some mornings, if I'm in a rush, I just take iodine because it's not going to hurt you. Your body will store extra iodine. And then whatever it can't store because it's completely full, which is totally a rarity, you would just urinate that out. So I don't know, it's pretty orange, guys. 3 more minutes. But that was our topic for tonight. Coating me in iodine. So usually the skin will pretty much take it no matter what. Because like I said, that's your last spot to store iodine. So obviously if you rub iodine on it, it's going to absorb it. It might absorb it a little bit on the slow side, but eventually it will absorb it because you're basically rubbing it on its storage spot, you know. Mine completely soaked in, but it's still orange, so I'm not really sure what that means, but the body already soaked it in, which is what the body should do. 2 more minutes. That's definitely orange. So anyway, that's kind of not a, like I said, it's not really a good way to test because you've got too much else playing in. So hello, I won't be able to stay long making dinner here, but so glad to be able to see you live for a minute. Love your content. Thanks, Mel. I'm glad you could be on too. We're just sitting around watching the iodine soak into my arm. What are you making for dinner, Mel? If you're still on. What's for dinner in your house? What's everybody else eating for dinner? You guys already know what I'm eating. Jackie, what are you eating for dinner? And don't think I'm going to judge, okay? Just be honest. What's for dinner tonight? My husband take iodine for his thyroid. Oh, good. So he's a smart man. That's awesome, Mel. I'm glad he takes that for his iodine instead of hormonal supplemental pills. Pizza and salad. That sounds so good. I have a recipe for pizza that I invented it. You just take sourdough starter and eggs and a little bit of water. You pour it in the bottom of your cast iron and bake it. And then put toppings on it. It's really good. That's been my go-to meal if I don't know what's for dinner. Yeah, I bet he feels so much better. Jackie, what's for dinner? 38 seconds. But I mean, it already soaked in, so. I'll just have to wash the orange off my arm, but it's not wet anymore. But like I said, that's what the body should do because your skin is your largest store for iodine. So I'm not surprised that it's soaked in. Your knowledge of glands are a huge info for me. We are having a beef Manhattan. What's a Manhattan? Is that like a sandwich? Jackie, I am eating chicken pieces in a stir fry. Ooh! Veggies with coconut secret teriyaki sauce. You know what, Jackie? You got me sold on that stuff. Azure Standard sells it, so I got like one of each. And so I got teriyaki. What's the other one? Garlic something. There's like 3 different flavors. Anyway, you recommended that to me like months ago, and I totally stocked up from Azure Standard because they are delicious. And stir fries are easy. It's last minute stuff. So what's a Manhattan? What's a beef Manhattan, Sandy? I love using my starter for things like that. We moved about 6 weeks ago. My ferments are still sleeping. My kitchen is under renovation. Once it's done, I'm back in business. Yeah. There you go. It's a Manhattan. Ooh, beef roast on 2 pieces of bread, mashed potatoes and gravy. Oh, is it mashed potatoes and gravy on top of it? Like a sandwich, and then you put the mashed potatoes and gravy on the top? If so, I've had that before. It's been a very long time though. But it's good because the gravy like went all the way over. Oh, it is? Okay. That is so good. I haven't had that in so long. That sounds so good though. Hey Julie, thanks for jumping on. We're just wrapping up. We were just talking about what's for dinner. So Julie, what's for dinner? Jackie says teriyaki, garlic, and original. Oh yeah, that's right. Those are the flavors. And I like their sweeteners and their vinegar. Oh, I didn't know they made vinegar. Might have to look into that. Julie, what's for dinner tonight? I'm hungry and I'm not even eating any of that. Sounds really good. I'm eating this. Julie didn't. Actually, I'm not technically eating this. I gotta get my tortillas out, but these turned out so good. Leftover chili. I'm so tired. I just cannot cook tonight. Hey, you know what? Nothing wrong with leftovers. We're constantly eating leftovers. My dad is one of those men that don't like leftovers, and our family, it's like something that happens all the time now. So I'm just like, you're not allowed to not like leftovers because leftovers make my life sane, and so those are not going away anytime soon. So if you don't like leftovers, then you can just go hungry. That's my rule. Jackie, I will be baking or roasting some of my potatoes I just harvested yesterday. Oh, I'm so glad you got some. I harvested half of my garden and it didn't do too well. I wasn't too surprised though. We had potato bugs and we were on top of those. We picked them off. You know, I gave the kids 10 cents a potato bug. There's like a little business going on. And that worked for a while. And we are in a drought here. In fact, it's supposed to be raining right now, but I think it's all going around us. So we're in such a bad drought that locusts are taking over and eating everything. And so I've been trying to kill them one at a time with diatomaceous earth, which works if you can get it on the actual locust, like sprinkle it on them. But anyway, to make a long story short, they ate all of my potato plants. Like completely, there's just like a stem left, that's it. So I ended up digging them up early. I dug half of them up early because they were going to be dead anyway. And so we pulled all of them out because that's where they were mainly wanting to live, was inside the tomato plant or potato plants. I'm not really sure why. They haven't touched my tomato plants yet, knock on wood. They have been really hitting up my green bean plants. And I wish that there was something more natural I could do on them that would actually like kill them, but the specific thing that I was advised to use is not being produced this year. So you can't really buy it this year. They're supposed to be picking up production next year. So I'm just going to keep my eyes open because I'm just guessing that all of these locusts and grasshoppers are like laying eggs down in the ground now, and so I'll probably have even more next year, which I'm really not looking forward to. So if that grasshopper biologic becomes available, I'm going to be the first one in line because I'm guessing next year is going to be a little rough too. But I mean, the grasshoppers are horrible. We have our chickens running loose. And it's just, there's so many of them that I can't even keep I mean, there's hundreds. I mean, it's crazy here. So it's just too dry. That's why they just all kind of moved in. So anyway, but I'm looking forward to the potential for next year. Are you still okay? Hang on. Sorry, guys. I'm behind. Chili says chili is always better the next day. Oh, it totally is. Kind of like lasagna. Yeah. My lasagna never lasts till the next day. Everybody eats 2 or 3 pieces. Sandy says, are you still not eating grains for your teeth? Yeah, I'm still on the teeth healing diet for right now anyway. I need to do an update video on that. I keep having the girls take pictures of my teeth and my cavities. They're definitely getting smaller. I started about a month ago, maybe less, on some homeopathics that were recommended to me for rebuilding teeth and removing teeth sensitivity and rebuilding enamel on your teeth. And those really seem to have accelerated the healing, which is great. I still have a couple, the original cavities. They're just really tiny black spots left instead of gigantic ones, so that's great. But yeah, I am still trying to stick to my diet as much as possible, so I haven't had any grains, I haven't had any beans. I've had sugar a couple of different times because it was our anniversary and we went out to this restaurant and they make the most amazing cheesecake. So I had some of that. And I guess that would have grain in it too, because I even ate the crust. But anyway, we're still healing. So I'm still taking cod liver oil 3 times a day and milk, and I really need to get better about oil pulling. I keep forgetting, but I am still doing the healing diet for my teeth. It's been 4 months on that diet, just for a reference. And my cavities are like a quarter of the size that they were 4 months ago. I didn't get a lot and kind of small, I think, because those greenhorn worms ate most of the greens that maybe true the growth of the, yeah. Those things are nasty, man. I had some of those on my tomatoes and I sprayed some of that BT spray. It's like that bacteria stuff. Anyway, I wiped them out. That was worth it, but there's a lot of spraying because I had 150 tomato plants this year. So, it's like you go like this and just, that's a lot of hand workout, spraying that many plants. Julie said, oh my goodness, the locusts are bad. My shepherd puppy keeps bringing me Circadias. She finds grasshoppers, anything that moves. Yeah. So Mel, I do have my first video up on my cavities. It's up here on the channel already. It's like 4 months ago, so you have to scroll. And that basically goes over like what books to buy, the basics of what you can and can't eat, that sort of thing. But I do need to make a update video. I do. I keep saying I need to, and I just don't ever get around to it. The other video that I had, very interesting. I retired from dentistry 3 years ago. Oh, good. Well, then you know all about it. So, Sandy, you've probably heard this spiel before, but while you're on bed rest, you should get Dr. Weston A. Price's book. You should get that book. What's it called? Come on. Come on, Jackie, type it out. What's it called? It's something in degeneration. I can't remember. Physical degeneration. Diet and physical degeneration or something. Anyway, if you know what it is, put it down below. I'm just airhead right now. But anyway, Sandy, just in case you haven't heard the spiel, Dr. Weston A. Price was a dentist that traveled the world in the early 1900s. And he basically, his studying linked the fact that oral health has nothing to do with brushing or flossing or mouthwash. He proved that because he traveled and studied indigenous people all over the world who had never seen a toothbrush or floss. And when he looked in those people's mouths, he had to look in 3 people's mouths in order to find one cavity. Like I said, no floss, no toothbrushes, no toothpaste, no anything. Colgate, okay? And they actually had like a slime, a protecting slime on their teeth. And so he had to look in 3 mouths in order to find one, okay? And then basically what he learned was that once those indigenous people moved closer to a trade route and started consuming things like white sugar, white flour, white salt, and other canned processed goods, that their teeth in that next generation, first of all, he found a cavity in every single mouth, and then the teeth into the next generation started coming in crooked, and so there wasn't enough room for all of their teeth, whereas the first generation that was still eating whole foods had enough room in their teeth for all of, or their mouth in their, had enough room in their mouth for all of their teeth, including their wisdom teeth. They had broad faces, okay? So then he studied them even further, and the next generation down had fertility issues that consumed the processed foods. They also had, there you go, nutrition and physical degeneration. Thank you, Julie. So anyway, that's a good book to get, Sandy, if you have not read that story. And that is by Dr. Weston A. Price, Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. Anyway, but that's what's fascinating, is that the body, if you think about it, the body has already, through intelligent design, or whatever your views may be on that, in my opinion, through intelligent design, through a master, excellent creator, has a blueprint on how to build your body, and your body has already been built once. It has the knowledge there, how to build teeth, how to repair skin, how to repair bones. It's an innate knowledge that has been given to us by our creator, and so same thing with your teeth, totally healable on the right diet and with the proper preparation of grains. It says I have a comment, but it won't let me look. Oh, Carl, nutrition. Yep, there we go. I purchased this book when I joined the foundation after you recommended it. Yeah, it is a really good book, and it's cool because they have the side-by-side pictures of each generation that he studied. Totally mind-blowing. And there's also a lot of books out there about epigenetics, which is the study of how diet and nutrition affects which one of our genes are expressed or not expressed. So, like when a child is born into a family and there's a family history of something, but that particular child never gets those symptoms or diagnosed, they seem to have gotten lucky genes. The problems with that usually run in the family just never seem to hit that child. That would be epigenetics. It would be the fact that child somehow is either consuming something that's protectant against those diseases, and or has turned off that particular gene for that individual. So it's totally fascinating. The thing I love the most about Dr. Wesley Price's books and any sort of information you can study up on epigenetics is that it gives you hope, you guys. If we're in this world just to live and die, and that's all we're here for, and there's nothing you can do, then it's almost like you're just living out your days waiting until you get diagnosed with cancer or some other horrible illness. And what hope is there in that? There's no hope in that. So I just love that as you learn more and more about healing the body can be healed. It knows how to do it, you know? You break a bone, it's not the cast that heals your leg, it's your body. So it's just amazing. All right. Awesome. Anyway, so that's my little spiel for tonight. So if you missed the beginning, or the middle, or the end, I'm not really sure, but we did talk about iodine in people's thyroid, so if you missed that, go back and watch the replay. I am going to timestamp it, so you won't have to sit and watch the whole thing. I'm going to timestamp when we went over the recipe for tonight. I'm going to timestamp when we were talking about shortcuts in the kitchen, and I'm going to timestamp when we started talking about iodine. Yeah, so I did put out that video. It's on here. I think I called it like first steps to healing cavities or something. I forget. I only have one on here about cavities, so it's going to be that one. And like I said, I will try and get another video up. I also have had requests to do a video on the GAPS diet. I don't know how many of you guys are going to be interested. I am going to do it. I don't know how in depth I am going to go because there is another channel here on YouTube called Bumblebee Apothecary, and she has an entire series, you guys, on the GAPS diet. So I am going to do like an intro video about why we did the GAPS diet, what we saw heal on our body on the GAPS diet. I'd also like to do a video on like kitchen equipment you need to have to do the GAPS diet, books to order, that sort of thing. I just don't know. We'll see how many of you guys are interested in that subject. I'll keep going if people are interested. But I do know that other Bumblebee Apothecary YouTube channel here on YouTube has tons of videos on the GAPS diet. But I also know that there are a lot of you guys who have reached out to me who are considering healing your families through the GAPS diet. So I will start out and we'll see where we can go, okay? What's for dinner next week on the live? So next week is pineapple barbecue meatballs. Totally delish, Julie. And I already made the pre-scheduled event right here on YouTube. And in the description is a list of all of the ingredients that you're going to need. So that'll save you some time. I need to rebuild my bone mass. During surgery, they found my bones were mushy and bone scan was bad news too. Sandy, do you drink raw milk? If not, you should look into that. Yeah, Julie, the pineapple barbecue meatballs, delicious. And it was like a total accident, but I had to try it. And I used my canned zucchini pineapple, which I haven't done a video on yet. I do plan to do that. And I'll be using my canned zucchini pineapple for next week for the recipe, but you sure could buy just regular canned pineapple. Just get the shredded kind and use that instead, totally. Okay. Good night, Carl. Yeah, Sandy, so if you don't drink raw milk, I would look into that. That is a major bone builder. That and then bone broth also. Really important. And bone broth is so easy to make in a slow cooker, a crock pot, that sort of thing. But yeah, I would be drinking, 3 or 4 cups of raw milk a day if I had mushy bones. I don't know what state you live in, but if you go to realmilk.com, I think it is, or it's .org, I'm not sure. Anyway, they do have a full list of all of the farmers in the United States that sell raw milk, so you can get linked up with a farmer that's close to you. You could also go on westonaprice.org, scroll down to the bottom and click on Find Local Food. And when you find local food, Illinois, they've got chapters all over Illinois. So if you click on Find Local Food, and then you'll find your local chapter that's closest to you, and you can email those people, and they will have a list of farmers within a certain mile range that sell the food you're after. In this case, you should really be after some raw milk. Raw milk is extremely nutrient dense, especially when it comes to bones, okay, strengthening bones. And people for a very long time have drank raw milk without a problem. My particular farm that is closest to me is certified organic and raw. They go through lots of testing. There's actually a lot more listeria in store-bought dairy products than there ever was in raw milk. Raw milk is actually a lot safer. Raw milk has lots of good bacteria in it, so if you consider it like a ferment, you have lots of good bacteria that outnumber the bad, and it keeps the bad in check. But once you start cooking the raw milk so it's no longer raw, you're cooking off a lot of the beneficial bacteria in there that actually protects the milk from becoming gross and having issues. Sandy says, I wondered about bone broth. Yes, bone broth for sure. And I do have a video up here on how to make broth in general. So you would just take the same directions and you would get more bones than meat when you put it into your crock pot or your slow cooker. And you'd add water and apple cider vinegar and then let that go. If it's beef bones, it goes for 24 hours. and if it's chicken bones, it's 12 hours. Julie says, or go to your local farmer's market. Yeah, and ask some of the vendors. Yes, absolutely. I'm in Illinois as well. There are a few in my area that I know if I purchased from a local farmer. I was able to find a A2 source of fresh milk, so I'm thankful. It's been a while. Yeah, and raw milk tastes the best, or makes the best butter. Yes, yes it does. I love making kefir with my raw milk. I love making kefir with our raw milk as well. Oh, I have something. I can talk to you guys about that too. Here, hang on a second. So I recently ordered from the Mason Tops company. These are kefir lids. And I wish I could say I was in love with them, but I just can't say that I'm in love with them. But basically it's like a built-in strainer. So this would screw to the top of your jar. I think for water kefir they'd work really, really well. The box claims you can do water or dairy kefir. My problem is that depending on the size of your grains might be bigger than mine, but mine are very small kefir grains. And so they actually like clog the holes in here. And so it has a nice pour spout, but you're like constantly shaking the jar to get it to come out. But I think it was a good idea. I just don't know. Like my kefir grains used to be huge, and I think that those would be okay. But I have just tiny kefir grains now, and they don't ever seem to get big, and I don't know why. But basically, because they're small like that, they don't fit through the holes, but they clog the holes, if that makes sense. I have done that. Probably haven't done that yet, Jackie. Yeah, kefir. Kefir's amazing. I've got kefir grains. Yeah, they grow. They grow and you end up having a whole bunch extra and then you want to give them away to your friends. That's for sure. So, anyway. All right. Well, that is all there is to tonight's dinner, guys. I don't think I have anything else. I don't know. You guys have anything else? Yeah, I haven't. That's all right. Kefir is actually really, really easy to make. It's just adding these little kefir grains to raw milk. Let it sit at room temperature for around 24 hours or until it starts to separate. And you get like little pockets of whey. And then you just, filter out. You put it through like here, this is what I usually use. It's a total myth, guys, that you cannot use metal with kefir, okay? I've been doing it for 8 years. Okay? Can totally use stainless steel with your kefir. Anyway, you just take a spoon and you pour the kefir into the top and then you agitate it around and your kefir drops down into your jar and then you take the kefir grains and put it into some fresh milk. That's how you make kefir. And I'm actually going to pronounce it the right way because I always have people say kefir is pronounced wrong, the way I'm pronouncing it. So it's actually kefir, okay? I said it the right way once, okay? Just in case that person that is from Russia watches this video. Kefir. Okay? I got it that time. It's just in my mind as kefir and it always will be. I've tried to change it, but I actually don't like the word fear, and so I think that's why I don't like to say it. But well, I'm glad I made it for a short while anyway. Better late than never. I'm setting a reminder for next week. Yeah. So that is a pre-scheduled event. So you should be able to click send a reminder on the pre-scheduled screen. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to get this food to the kids. And I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you so much for being on. And I will see you guys on the next video, okay? Take care.